Before I start this review, I want to thank Mr. Ron Howard, Director Ron Howard, for giving us one of the greatest cinematic seafaring adventure stories of all time. Probably one of the most underrated, greatest epic seafaring adventure story of all time. What am I talking about? I'm talking about none other but In the Heart of the Sea in 3D, a 2015 release, a 2-hour and 2-minute film. 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio, so you will get the great big beautiful screen, no black bars, Dolby True HD 7.1, 6.9 right now on International Movie Database, based on 137,000 entries, 42% critics approval score based on 230 some entries on Rotten Tomatoes, 53% audience approval score on Rotten Tomatoes based on 25,000 entries. This is directed by Ron Howard, starring Charlotte Riley as Peggy Chase, Chris Hemsworth as Owen Chase. You've got Benjamin Walker as Captain George Pollard. You've got Cillian Murphy as Matthew Joy, Brendan Gleeson as Tom Nickerson, and you've got Ben Whishaw as Herman Melville, Michelle Fairley as Mrs. Nickerson, and you got Tom Holland as Thomas Nickerson when he's young, and many, many other stars in here. I can't name them all. I don't want this to be too long. Look it up. What do we got here? We got a seafaring adventure about the ship, the Essex. This takes place in 1820 in Nantucket. Nantucket was the center of the whaling industry. They shipped the whale oil all over the country, all over the world. It went to England. Back then, whale oil was what petroleum oil is to us today. It lit the world. It powered the world. It was their resource. And I do know that, whaling turned out to be a horrendous, horrible industry in the end, based with all the giant mechanical devices they had, mechanical harpoons and winches and giant ships, and they basically stripped the ocean of the whales. But back then in 1820, the whales were like minnows in a pond, and it was their livelihood back then. This is what this is about, and this is what it captures. In an epic proportions, an absolute. Ron Howard takes you into 1820. Ron Howard takes you into Nantucket. Ron Howard takes you on the Essex. You're in the ocean. You're out in the ocean, especially in 3D. There's going to be some spoilers here. I can't help it. This is Ron Howard's 6 of 7 real-life stories that he's told. This is a real-life story. This was a real boat. The Essex was really destroyed by a whale. Moby Dick was a real whale. The music score, absolutely brilliant in here, composed by, I think it's Roque Banos in Abbey Road Studios with a full orchestra. And he has a special effects sounds too. It's incredible. The man was an absolute genius with sound effects. And the soundtrack is just incredible. The story follows Owen Chase, who's a young first mate on a lot of whaling ships, and it comes time and he thinks he's going to be the captain of the Essex. Look, the names are real, the story's real. And then along comes Captain George Pollard, who never was a captain of a ship, but he's son, by family, by blood, he's supposed to be a captain of a ship. And him and Owen Chase, Chris Hemsworth bang heads all the time throughout the movie. There's tension. And, who's going to be in charge? Of course, the captain's the captain. And it follows them. And this is filmed, on location in Spain, the Canary Islands. Ron Howard took his cameras and his crews out to these islands and out into the ocean. Yes, they filmed some in tanks and indoor tanks, outdoor tanks. Yes, they did. But they also filmed it out in the ocean and on locations. And Chris Hemsworth, Tom Holland, the rest of the crew actually starved themselves to get in shape, to get in this condition that they had to get in. And they lost so much weight. They were on a 500 calorie a day diet. Tom Holland one time snuck a croissant and he ended up puking his guts out because he hadn't had any kind of food like that. That's how dedicated these actors were to these roles. This is Chris Hemsworth's one of his finest roles. I mean, look, if you liked Castaway, if you liked Life of Pi, if you like Master and Commander, you're going to absolutely love this film. Absolutely, it's absolutely incredible. Let's talk about the 3D now. Amazing. The 3D is absolutely amazing. You're there. You're in Nantucket. The angles of the cameras down low on the ground makes that foreground and depth go so much farther back. Every shot seems to be framed for 3D with ropes on the ship. Looking out here, looking out there. The depths, incredible depths. You're on this boat in 3D. You're absolutely on this boat. You will get some stick outs. You will get some harpoons sticking out and things like that. Nothing's going to really fly out. Nothing hokey. Although I like flyouts. You can call them hokey if you want, but I do like them. But they're not here. This is just true depth, true color. There's a certain palette of color in here too, a bluish green type palette of color. This can be a dark film. And by that, I mean not in the brightness. The brightness is fine. The 3D is fine. It's amazing. It's going to suck you right in. Absolutely incredible 3D. Another thing about this 3D, it's reference quality. If you got somebody that's never seen a 3D movie before and they think, well, it's going to make me sick, sit them down, let them watch this movie. It's beautiful. Reference quality, full screen. They did everything right here. Everything is done right here. I know this took it on the chin by the critics. Let's try to think about why. Well, it came out, the timing was terrible. It came out just before Star Wars, The Empire, or what was it? Something Rises, I can't remember. And people were hanging out of their wallets and their money because they're going to go see that new Star Wars film. And so that was part of it. And I think it was just so much to handle for some people. I mean, there's some dark things in here. Look, there's going to be some spoilers here. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you don't want any spoilers, turn it off. But there's some things here, what people would do to stay alive and what people have to do to stay alive. And I could just see some people walking out. They just couldn't handle it. There's some dark things here, but it's all true. It's a true story. And what I like about this is you've got young Tom Holland telling the story. He's older now. He's an innkeeper, living a miserable life because he got bottled up inside of him. Everything that happened on the Essex, it's all bottled up inside. What happened to him, and how they survived. His wife he's just a drunk now. His wife, somebody comes along, and they want to offer him money to hear his story, and he doesn't want to tell it. But his wife coaxes him into telling the story, and that's the movie. He's there. He's telling the story. I mean, this ship left Nantucket 2.5 years. These guys would leave Nantucket for 2.5, 3 years to come back with oil, whale oil. And these guys sailed all the way around Cape Horn to the blowing snow and out into the Pacific Ocean where there was whales, where they run into this giant Moby Dick. What an industry too. This, back then, these guys had an 85-foot boat. The Essex was 85 feet long, and they would spot a school of whales. And they'd get in three tiny 25-foot boats and row out to the whales, stick it with harpoon, and let the harpoon drag these guys around, let the whale drag them around till they got tired. If the whale dove down, they got to have enough rope. They got to get that rope out before it pulls the boat down. And then they got to get the whale back to the ship. They can't bring the whale on board. It's not like whaling was today, or was, the atrocity of the mechanical harpoons and winches and bring the whale in the boat and scoop whales out of the ocean like little nets. No, this is they have to process it while it's hanging off the ship. Sharks are eating it. They're all getting their fill. They got to bring the head in because that's where the good oil's in the head. And somebody's got to go down in that head and scoop that oil out. I'm not going to tell you who it is. They got to go in the head. It's incredible. It's incredible what they had to do. These are real people. This is what they did. Talk about tough men. These guys were out in the ocean for 2.5, 3 years doing this stuff. True story. Incredible. That's about it, man. I'll tell you, I haven't been excited about a movie in a while, but I'll tell you, and the rewatch value on this, I might put it back in, watch it again. I could watch this 10 times. I could watch it once a month. It's incredible. If you love seafaring adventures, if you love good 3D, absolutely brilliant 3D, you're going to love this movie. Don't miss it. Don't pass this up. Don't get this confused with any other movie. Pick this movie up. Put it in your collection. This is reference quality. One of the best seafaring movies, if not one of the best movies I've ever seen. That's my opinion. I don't care what the naysayers say. So there we go. That's what I'm going to do with this. In the Heart of the Sea. 5 out of 5 for the movie. 5 out of 5 for the 3D. So tell me, did you see it? Did you see it in 3D? Man, if you didn't see this in 3D, you don't know what you're missing. You just don't know what you're missing. Views under the water. Camera going down. Half into water, half out of the water. Water washing over the camera. Absolutely incredible if you didn't see this in 3D. You got to see this in 3D. So did you see it in 3D? Did you see it in 2D? Did you see it at the theaters? Maybe you saved your money to see the Star Wars film. I don't know. But leave some comments below and let me know. I really enjoyed this film. I guess you could tell by this review. Leave some comments. Let me know. Hit that like and subscribe button. Got a lot more reviews coming out. I want you to have a good night. I want you to stay safe. And as always, God bless.